Start over here. Everybody can introduce themselves.
I'm Keelan Mobley. I'm K-Mobs. I do a bunch of random stuff. Most of it is dealing with you guys. So, yeah, I'm one of the people that's been here since almost the start, too. Woo!
I'm Chris Sawyers. I feel like I don't do all that much for CM, but you guys would probably beg to differ. I do a lot with the servers. I make sure your downloads get done and actually happen. Somebody just yelled, "I love gingers." I do have red hair. There are quite a bit of people from CyanogenMod here today, so if you can find the time to introduce yourself. There's a lot of people here that don't usually get as much face time as us, and it'd be nice to kind of get them out and introduce everybody as well.
Sawyer is just being humble. He actually does the distributed build system that builds like 60, 70 devices in. So it's a lot of work. Really, it's a lot of cost for that. I'm Kosh. I worked on Clockwork Cloud Recovery and ROM Manager. I also work on the build system and make sure people don't break the Mac builds.
That's what I do. I break the Mac builds.
Jeff Oliver or Jagos, do random here and there work, not so much lately. Also assist Chris with back-end stuff, maintaining all the servers and stuff that goes out with that.
I'm Martin Brown, Hop Oblivion. I do just various different things and frameworks. I made incognito mode for the browser. Did the orientation stuff before it was out in actual AOSP. And some other things. I've been trying to work with Ricardo on the Optimus 3D to try to get it going.
I'm Madison Koenig. I'm Peddler. I've do UI enhancements. I've done
Y'all turn the speakers up? Yeah. The speakers up or hit?
Hold them up closer to your
Hello.
Check.
Here we go. Can you hear me now? Yeah. I feel like the Verizon guy all of a sudden. I'm Madison Koenig. I'm Peddler. I do UI enhancements. The last thing that I did was a long time ago. So, yeah, that's about it. I'm lazy, okay?
Yes, he is. I'm Austin Dickon. I'm CVPCS. Joined the team last December, and I do mostly maintenance of Motorola Droid line. So.
I'm a B-Site Dakota, aka Swirl. I'm the head of the front-end user-facing side, so wiki, the forums, everything you guys do for downloads, making sure everything's released, cross XDA, wiki, goes through me. Yeah.
I'm Marcus Guidry, known as Guidry. I'm the lead editor of Wiki, and I'm one of the forum moderators.
I'm Brent Cribble, or Beckett. I'm a device maintainer. Used to do the original Droid kernels, and now mostly the ViewSonic G tablet.
My name is Parachute. Oh my god, stuttering.
Somebody give us a beer.
Give us a beer. So I do kernels for various devices. I am also a device maintainer with Brent on the ViewSonic G tablet, CPAD.
I'm Sean Olte. I'm Kate541. I'm just on the wiki and the forum with this guy, Guidry and Cyril, and that's it.
Oh no, you really are getting
Do
I am Mrs. Cyanogen.
I'm Benji, and he takes all my stuff.
I'm Prash.
Hi, Prash.
Hey, come on. I just do graphics and wallpapers and UI enhancements. I just did the bubbles, I think. Bubbles! And that's about it.
There's a
Make sure everything is good.
patch that to change the bubbles.
Hey, I'm Max, Scepter Online. I do a lot of random stuff and never actually get anything done. Hello, my name is Fred and I'm an alcoholic.
All right, so this is a community panel, and we're really interested to hear from you guys and what you think of what we're doing, and we want to learn from you. But before we start, so back in April we released CM7, which was the first version based on Ginger Red. And that's the 7.0.3 is the current stable version. So we did a few minor updates. So it's been quite a while. We've been kind of busy, but the team has been working really hard. We've added support for a lot of new devices. We're up to 68 devices now, and yeah, there's a few more on the way. We're getting ready to push out the 7.1 release, and we were hoping to have it ready for you guys today, but GitHub's been having some problems this morning, so it's probably going to be tomorrow. You'll be able to download that. The new version is based on Android 2.3.7, so very latest from Google. It's got some neat stuff in it, a bunch of new Bluetooth stuff like tethering, mouse support, AVRCP 1.3. It's got a new lock screen, the rings that Prash was talking about. It's really cool, the bubbles. Yeah. We got some new features in the camera. There's one second. Oops. Yeah. We also did a lot of work with performance, so you'll find it to be a lot smoother, less buggy. So I hope you guys like it. But yeah, we're really trying to have it out today, but and you'll be able to download it tomorrow.
Is that an ETA?
Yeah, that is an ETA. So we just want to take questions from you guys and hear what you guys think about it. So I guess let's just get started. Who's first? All right, I see a hand. Is that Epic Touch?
No, epic.
Yeah, that's probably never gonna happen.
Nah, never gonna happen.
Say no.
Move on.
Alright, go be shot.
My phone just hard reset.
No sensations.
Sucks to be you.
No questions.
No
questions.
There's one.
No ETAs.
What's the progress on the Android port to the HP touchpad? I knew it.
See it sober tonight, it'll be a lot faster.
I'll be showing it off on the touchpad later today in about an hour when my download finishes. It works pretty well. All the hardware acceleration works, 2D, 3D, Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth even.
What's left on touchpad, and I brought mine.
What's left is just stability issues and like sleeping, waking up. That's pretty much it.
Those are important.
Battery life. Yeah, if you want your battery to last more than an hour or so, right now it's not that good.
I don't use it that much. An hour would be good.
An hour of Android would be better than anything of WebOS.
Oh! Yes, he went there.
One thing that I wanted to talk about really quick was that we added support for pretty much every Sony Ericsson device that you can currently buy.
Yes.
And I think it's pretty awesome. their engineers actually worked with people on the CM team to make that happen. They provided us with devices. They actually provided us with drivers that were free of any extra proprietary stuff that they just couldn't distribute. You'll also be able to download those drivers from their developer site if you want to go and build your own ROM. I think it's definitely a big step towards legitimizing our project. So.
Yeah, a bit of a suggestion more than a question. Would it be basically feasible for Sony Ericsson if, for example, they're not doing the next Nexus, to actually make a developer-only device that comes with CyanogenMod?
I hope so.
I have a question. How do you like your new job?
I love it, actually.
Good.
So they're treating me pretty well. But I'm here representing CM, not Samsung.
Yeah.
Well, then I would like to follow up. Do you guys think you're going to be able to support these Samsung Fascinate 4G?
Are we going to support the Fascinate 4G?
No, probably not.
Shut up!
Most likely.
Awesome.
Hey, the original Fascinator. Yeah, we do.
No, this is new.
Oh, they do.
959p.
Yeah, I think it will be. Yeah, nobody's picked it up yet. But... All right.
Way in the back.
Way in the back.
What's the progress on CN7 for the Motorola Photon?
Photon. Is anyone working on Photon? I don't think anybody's working on it yet.
It'll be a while.
It's kind of status. Because it's just a radio. So it's similar to the Matrix.
Okay. I don't know.
It's pretty close. Just say it's pretty close.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the Matrix is actually in progress. So it is close.
As you can see, from last year to this year, we have grown a lot. And that's because we have pushed. You know, you guys are asking, what's the status on this device or the status on this device? Check our forums. If you're not seeing a developer working on it and you really want it to come forward, either help find a developer or push it yourself. There are people doing that, and then they get brought right into the team and continue maintaining. That's exactly how we're growing. We have a guy that's actually doing a port to the 4G slide. And, he's got almost the whole thing working. And, he'd be an example of that, where he did, started it, he wanted it done. He'll be, part of the team maintaining that device. So, try to keep that in mind also when you're asking about, the statuses on these devices.
That's a very broad question. A softball, if you will. Is the biggest resource constraint people or hardware?
I think it's both, but I think it's really people. Unfortunately, we have to spend a lot of time reverse engineering, and I really wish we could spend time coding rather than reverse engineering, but it's just kind of a fact of that's just how things are right now. But for every device that we do, we need people to actually take care of it and nurture it. So, we need both. We really need both.
This is a pretty novice question, but for someone not very familiar with CM and happy with their stock ROM, what are the biggest reasons you might want to switch to CM?
Good question.
Good question.
Well, bubbles. Yeah. First of all, you're going to get the very latest version of Android. So, the new version of CM 7.1 is going to be Android 2.3.7. So, right now, the only device you can get that on is an XSS from Google. On top of that, you're going to get tons of flexibility. It's constantly updated. I mean, if you want to update it every day, you can. You can follow the progress, see exactly what's going in it. There's constant innovation happening. There's new stuff going in all the time. And it's just, whoever thinks up a great idea, they just code it, and it more than likely will make it in. Tends to be a little bit faster. You have lots of flexibility in the performance, the way you can tune and tweak things. There's some really neat stuff like we have the DSP manager, right? You can completely tweak out all the sound on it. There's really no reason not to try it. It's so easy to revert back to stock on these devices if you need to. You should just do it. And once you put the custom recovery on there, you can just continuously back the thing up. So as long as you do that, you're never going to lose anything.
Follow on to his, what do you lose, if anything, by going to CS?
It depends on the device. Sometimes we don't have full hardware support for certain things. Like with the Optimus 3D, we're still working on getting the 3D functionality working perfect. Like videos work, like you can play 3D on YouTube, but the camera has a memory leak in it. And, usually it's just integration with the hardware, and that kind of goes back to what I was saying about we have to spend a lot of time reverse engineering because these things aren't really open. So we have to figure out how they work. We generally don't have any documentation. HDMI on some devices doesn't work, but I think on most it does now.
Could you take a new phone that you don't support and you get one? What's the process now? What does it look like if somebody were watching you do this?
It depends on what the hardware is. If it's similar to something that we already have, which is usually the case, then it can be pretty straightforward. But if it's a new hardware platform, we might have to... a lot of vendors are releasing reference code, like Qualcomm's releasing reference code for all their platforms. So we go to that to get to get lots of the hardware working, to get the radio working, to get the cameras working, to get the video playback working. And then there's lots of things that we have to figure out. A lot of vendors, they do custom stuff in the radio layer. So we need to figure out what changes we need to make in the framework to support what they've done with the radio. And we'll need to figure out the power management on the thing. There's lots of small things that go into it. Yeah, and when you're actually bringing it up, make sure that what you're doing doesn't cause problems for all the other devices that we have to support too, because the code on an OMAP chipset is totally different from a Qualcomm chipset. So you have to make sure that stuff doesn't get intermingled. Yeah.
We get some new stats. Are they downloads or any kind of worldwide thing?
I'll answer that question. So probably about a year ago, we started tracking unique installations on CyanogenMod. When you first install it, it will ask you if you want to opt into stats. I ask everyone here to please do that. We're not stealing your personal information. We don't do anything with it. We don't sell it to anybody. We're just tracking a unique installation. It really helps us keep motivated to see how many people have, CyanogenMod running. As for the question with an overhaul with stats, can we see more stuff? You can, once I find the time to do it. The stats program, as it is right now, it was whipped together in probably 4 or 5 hours one night. It's really slow. As of right now, we've got 664,000 unique installations, which is pretty impressive. But there's so much data there. There's many ways that we could present it differently. And I would really like to spend some time working on that. So the answer is yes, you can see more, but just please be patient, Greg. Please be patient.
Can you just speak generally about the fact that Android 3.0 hasn't had the source code released and thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. I think pretty much everybody on the team, we support what Google did. I think that they had a very specific target for 3.0, which were the Tegra 2 tablets. And based on that constraint and the time that they had to push it out by, it just wasn't ready for other devices yet. And had they pushed it out, there's going to be all these vendors trying to shoehorn it on the phones, places that it really isn't quite ready for. And I think they needed to maintain a little bit of control with it. So I think they did the right thing. Otherwise, it probably would have turned into a mess. Yeah.
The hats?
Yeah, you.
Yeah.
I have a quick question. One of the things, whenever I switch from CM to a different ROM that I really miss is the theme engine, where it's really easy to get this big list of themes to choose from. Do you think it's ever going to get to the point where that might be something that the average Joe can do, maybe like a type of kitchen? Have you ever thought of evolving it more so you can insert bits and pieces yourself rather than rely on the guys who are really going heavy on the theme?
Well, the thing about adding something like the theme engine to a custom ROM is that it's a really huge change. It has hooks all through the framework. I mean, it's in the tools that build packages. It's in the package manager. It's all through the entire resource layer. It's not something that you can just easily bolt on. So you really need to be able to build the ROM from source to do something like that. You know, it's not just an APK that you add.
Follow up on the reverse engineering question. Pure curiosity, would technically Sony Ericsson's device be the ones that now have been the most easy to reproduce the same feature set from the stock ROM onto CM?
Yeah. The stuff that they provided us with, if you use the camera on a stock Sony Ericsson phone, and it's got like the Bravia engine that does color enhancement and all that, they took all that out, right? Then they gave us a version without all the proprietary stuff. Yeah, and more importantly, that it worked with it was binary compatible with AOSP.
With the release of 7.1 tomorrow, is there any worries of the server crashing with the downloads?
Yes.
We worry about that even when there's not downloads.
Yeah, you can talk about that.
So I'm on vacation, I'm trying to relax. I would prefer that, the servers not crash. That is a problem. I have a few contingency plans in place. We don't do a lot of traffic normally. I say that, but we do actually. We probably approach a gigabit of traffic constantly any time of the day. But when we do a release, we quadruple in the amount of traffic that we do. So if we are in fact releasing tomorrow, I'll more than likely have a couple laptops sitting here just standing around not having fun. But like I said, I do have a couple contingency plans that I'm going to be working on tonight. So to answer the question, that is a risk, but I hope it doesn't happen.
Thanks. And the download network is pretty robust too. We have mirrors all around the world, so.
I was gonna ask if y'all could repeat the questions. We can't hear any of the questions back here, just the answers.
The question was, can we repeat the questions? Yes.
And then there's no more questions.
And there's no more questions. Yeah.
Do y'all interact with any other ROM devs, and what do y'all do with that?
Repeat the question. Do we interact with other ROM devs? Yeah. Sometimes in a bad way, but we really try to. We try to set an example is what we try to do, because we started out as the project was it was a mod, and now we've turned it to I consider it a distribution of Android. So you tend to find us being modded now. when you go on XDA, half the builds are versions of CM, so the tables have turned a little bit. So when I think of working with other modders, I really want to provide them a quality product that they can hack on.
Where's my CyanogenMod car?
Where's your, say it again?
CyanogenMod on other devices, either for your car navigation or...
Actually, there's a Paris with Android.
Whatever happened. Do you trust us with that?
Yeah. I would love to have it in my car.
Running a car?
Fuck no.
Make a U-turn.
I do have a Panda board. Oh yeah, what was it? CM on other devices and like cars and stuff. I do have a version of CM that is sort of mostly working on a Panda board that can be extended into in-car entertainment. But that project has kind of fallen by the wayside with, you know, life getting busy. I'd like to pick back up on that because that actually is a really great idea to have that in there. You know, I wanted, when it first started, you know, I had grand plans of taking over the world of cars. You know, it will be, you know, to an extensible point, but you also have to think with that, you are going to have to purchase your own hardware to put into your car and make it all work.
That is unless we build it and put it into a nice shiny box and sell it and become billionaires. More yachts. Yeah, back then.
I want to know firsthand what you guys think of Android task killers.
They're stupid.
Task killers.
What do we think of task killers? They're not necessary. They usually cause more problems than they fix. They might be useful on a device that is misconfigured, or maybe an older device, maybe. I've never personally used one, ever.
So even on the Sense 3.0, you don't like it?
Yeah, we had one in the back over stall infector.
You asked about Sense 3.0?
Yeah.
I haven't really used it much, so I don't know if anybody else you want to.
That's your word on sensation.
What was the question?
Like you were talking about task killers and stuff. I'm just wondering about like the one built in the 3.0.
Oh, the task killer built into 3.0 is the question. What do we think of it? Honestly, I don't think it does as much as you'd like to think it does. I think it does about as much as the force stop that built into 2.3 does. And they also hide a lot of stuff in their 3.0 task killer. You can't kill sense. You can't kill the processes that would auto spawn and slow down your phone anyway. So it's protected from the end user to damaging or making their phone unstable. But don't use it on CM.
And another thing about something like Sense versus CM, our footprint is a lot lower. You don't have all these apps starting up. You don't have all these services running for stuff that you don't use all the time. So you're a whole lot less likely to run into that problem. Yeah, in the back.
What's the best way to explain to the average person why a task killer is bad for your phone?
What's the best way to explain why a task killer is bad for their phone? Well, Android has a very specific life cycle in the way the software runs, and it's very different from anything else. What it tries to do, since it was designed for low memory devices that were very slow, like the G1, it tries to keep processes around and like when you exit them. And they're not doing anything, they're just paused. So if you go back to them, they start up nice and fast. Now there's also a whole services framework that can spin up things that run in the background and then shut down. Now, a problem there is sometimes developers don't use the APIs properly. Sometimes the services will respawn. Sometimes you'll use this task killer because you see some service running for something that you're not using, and you kill it, and it just starts right back up again. So you really didn't solve anything. And if you start killing off these apps that are sitting around in the background, there's just going to be more that start up and kind of hang out there when you exit them. I mean, really, if you're not using the RAM, why have it in the first place? So Android was really designed with that concept in mind. Use all the RAM all the time.
So, to continue the thought of task killers, will you please settle the question of antivirus software?
Well, antivirus software. Well, the thing about that is that, I mean, we haven't really seen any like nasty worms or anything, but there have been vulnerabilities. Now, I think they could be useful because there's a lot of malicious apps on the market, and everybody's trying to scam everyone and make apps that look like other apps that aren't really those apps. So, I mean, if you want, I guess if you're not paying attention, yeah, they might be helpful. I've never really used one, but I think you can just use your common sense in most cases. But it could be useful for people that aren't developers or aren't completely geeking out about Android all the time. Sure, they could be useful.
There's people like that?
Yeah, actually, that's where I wanted to go. I mean, okay, the people in this room, the answers apply.
Mm-hmm.
They do not apply to my mom.
Right.
What do you think for a normal person, not Steve Condick? You're like, I don't use this. Dude, you're Steve Condick. If it doesn't use the word how you like it, you change it. How a normal human being, my mom, my aunt. What do you think about those same products for them?
Well, I can't really see my mom using a task killer. She shouldn't have to.
I'm not saying she should or not, but if she does, is it a bad thing?
Teach your mom that.
Yeah, I'd probably explain to her. Well, I don't know. She probably wouldn't understand the explanation, but yeah. Yeah.
Say that again?
Yeah, let's probably move on from task killers. No, something like an antivirus program or something. Yeah, sure. If she wants to use it, fine. My mom can use that. Maybe it'll save her from installing some Trojan software. But,
We know about Steve. How about the web sticker? You got day jobs? Are they Android related?
Yeah, that's a good question. What do we do? What are our day jobs? Who's actually working on Android here?
I will be soon.
Yeah. Becca. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, Martin. Yeah, Martin.
Martin.
That's my good job.
Kush just does Android all day long, every day, all day.
When does so?
Yeah.
Corollary. When is Cyanogen Inc. coming?
Oh boy.
Yeah.
First. Last year.
Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah. Can we borrow some money?
Fuck no.
This question from the chat room says from Framework 43 wants to know if Ice Cream Sandwich is being for phones or tablets. Do you plan on supporting both?
Yeah. I mean, CM9 will be Ice Cream Sandwich.
CM8.
CM8 is a figment of your imagination.
Yes. What was the question?
The question was, will we be doing Ice Cream Sandwich on phones and tablets? Yeah. Yes.
Contrary to popular belief, I don't actually own a yacht.
He has 2 helicopters.
I have 2 helicopters.
Let's do a jet next year.
We do. We out of questions?
Can we buy a plane?
Ask that.
I think you should work on the
I
house
need an
first.
airplane. Oh, I need a house.
Another one from the chat room?
Yeah, another one from the chat room from Tony. He says, with the Android tablet pricing, do you see a drop into the Kindle Fire?
I think that is, that's, they definitely threw some competition out there. The Kindle Fire, is that going to cause a price drop in tablets? I really hope so. They did kind of create a new market with that. It's kind of like you have like the 10.1 and the Zooms, which are super high-end devices, and then you have these really low-end tablets out there that are just and now you have the Fire, which is kind of right in the middle. So I think it's in a good place, and I hope that more stuff gets into that category.
The Kindle Fire is also probably being sold at a loss because they're expecting to make a lot of their money back on that Amazon App Store.
So don't read it.
And what was the other thing? Obviously, Kindle sales.
It's actually been proven their production cost is higher than 200.
Yeah, so commenter here just said that it's been proven that the production cost is higher than 200, which is the price tag.
That's the same thing that happened with the Nook Color, as far as we know, too. They sold that at a heavy loss, and it got rooted, and people were just buying it because it's even used as a generic tablet. Yeah.
With regards to the patent issues that Microsoft and other companies are throwing at manufacturers and potentially Google in the future, do you see yourself in the same place if lawsuits were to come to, say, Google regarding Android? Would your distribution model be able to continue? Do you have to slow down, change direction?
Yeah, no comment. I really have no idea.
Okay. I'd like to add a little bit to that. The reverse engineering, does that cause you guys problems?
The question was, would reverse engineering cause us problems? I will not go with no comment. Reverse engineering in the United States is not illegal, despite what everybody wants you to believe. The only place where it becomes illegal is when you look at the manufacturer's internal workings, their internal documentation, and then take that and push it forward. But clean white room reverse engineering, which is what we do, is 100% legal in the United States. And even if they were to come after us with lawsuits, we have plenty of legal ground to stand on.
Also no comment.
Also no comment.
Do you guys have a legal team? Just concerns?
We don't even really have an official dev team.
LegalZoom.com.
There's an app for that.
Have you been patenting any of your stuff? You should.
No, we haven't been patenting anything. The question was, have we been patenting anything? No. There are some good ideas that we have in there that maybe we should have. But we're also releasing all the code as open source. So I'm not an expert in that area. So
CM isn't here to make money.
yeah, again, we're not really here to make money. We're just kind of trying to put something out there that anybody can work on.
Have you seen the filing fees for patents?
Yeah.
They're not rich, despite your belief. Except for the 2 helicopters.
Yeah, back there.
Man, you guys are going to move towards, coming out with your own stock apps instead of using, the stock apps that come with whatever phone you're getting, like, it's not about giant on camera. Because a lot of times I see different apps out there, and I have the Atrix, and to be honest, when I downloaded CyanogenMod, the Atrix, it crashed all my navigation programs and everything, and I'm sure there's fixes for it that I haven't looked into, but a lot of times I find it frustrating because you'll have a release like the Droid 3 camera that you can put on your phone, which blows away the original camera on the Atrix, as well as Sony's panorama camera, their panorama software, their camera's awesome. You guys ever gonna start working on your own kind of stock apps for Cyano?
Well, first of all, we definitely can't include any of that stuff because it's all incredibly proprietary, especially when it comes to cameras. We really want to be able to make sure all the source code is out there. One thing that we're lacking is a good user experience person. So inquire with them. Well, Crash isn't doing UX; he's doing UI, which is very different. so we are interested in doing those kinds of things, but again, most of the team's been tied up in supporting new devices. So that's and life, and so that's where we kind of have a shortage of resources there. Yeah, I mean, and another goal is that we really like the way the Google experience devices are, so we want to keep as close to that as possible. And the stuff that we add, we want it to look like it could have came that way, so we don't really want to throw anything really outlandish in there. Yeah, I mean, we're not really going for something like MyUI, which is nice and all, but we kind of like the very very stock, kind of Google experience type.
I think over the past year, like the project has evolved, like our direction. Like when I started at first, I don't think Donut had the Wi-Fi tethering or anything like that built into it, but now like that comes stock in the OSP. So like we moved beyond like just adding all the features we wanted, because Google is doing a really great job of that now, to making sure that all devices have access to these to the AOSP experience.
So, when supporting all these newer devices, how much more difficult does it bring when something like Ice Cream Sandwich does get released?
How difficult is it going to be to merge all these devices up to Ice Cream Sandwich? It's a question. Yeah, we don't really know yet. But when Gingerbread was released, it took us about 3 months before we did our first RC from the time that Google released the source code. All the time was really spent merging features up. We had to write some backward compatibility code to work with some of the older drivers. So we really don't know what the internals of Ice Cream Sandwich looks like. So I don't really know. I kind of expect the same amount of ramp up, maybe 3-4 months. And as they're working, the code will be available. So.
Next part.
Yeah, front row.
Oh yeah, front row.
This is a question to the whole panel. Obviously, you're full time on this. How many hours do you guys spend in any given day working on this stuff as volunteers?
Yeah, how much time do we spend every day working on this? Yeah, it varies. I mean, I've not slept for days because of it. I've not done anything for a week on it. It really depends on motivation level, I guess. And some of these guys like working on the new devices, like the guys working on Pyramid, I don't, they're every time I go on IRC, they're working constantly on this stuff. So yeah, it really depends. Yeah.
Where do we scan the barcode for the single?
No comment. So the question was, when do we scan the barcode? We had a bit of a hiccup, and no one actually printed out a giant barcode for people to scan.
Dude.
Great. And GitHub is down, so like the swag that's in there isn't all there yet. So once GitHub's back up, we'll figure out a strategy to get that barcode to scan. Tomorrow.
Kush, can you just protect it?
No. You can't scan it right now.
Yeah, you can't scan it because the file isn't out there yet, because GitHub was down, so we weren't able to do the builds. So hopefully they'll be available. If they're available tomorrow, we'll have the barcodes plastered around tomorrow. If not, then you'll just have to download it Monday. Yeah, right there.
You said you need a UX person. Is that somebody filing bugs and features, or is that somebody writing the code?
Well, UX, I'm thinking more like, okay, let's make some. The question was, do we, what kind of work would the UX person be doing? We really need somebody with, some vision on how to, like our CyanogenMod settings app, right? There's just stuff everywhere, all right? And we need somebody with a vision to look at it and say, okay, well, here's how we can arrange that and make, these things user friendly. Okay, maybe we need a new custom control here. Here's what it should look like. We don't really need them to write the code. But we need them to figure out the experience of how it should work. Yes. 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 Anyone else? Yeah.
Have you tried to push any code upstream, particularly with performance, and has Google been receptive?
Well, a lot of the performance stuff, yeah, the question was, do we push stuff upstream to Google? We do when it's relevant to AOSP. If it's a bug fix, if we find a bug somewhere or improvement somewhere, yeah, we do push it upstream. A lot of the stuff like, new features, performance enhancements, usually performance enhancements end up being device specific. And so Google's not interested in any of that. And new features, they kind of had their own roadmap. So we haven't really pushed any of that stuff up. Yes, the chat room.
Yeah, chat room question. What are your thoughts or views on QNX BlackBerry Limited Android?
I don't really have anything. Does anybody want to talk about QNX? We don't have anything. What do we think about QNX on BlackBerry? Yeah.
I got a theme chooser question. Is there a way to choose, like in Metamorph, you can choose what you wanted to apply? Is there a way we could pick and choose what we wanted out of QNX?
That would be a future enhancement. The question was, can we make pick and choose what you want to apply from Theme Chooser? The thing about Theme Chooser is, you're packaging up all these resources and a way to map these resources back and forth into a single APK. Technically, it's possible. Will we be doing it? I don't know if we'll be doing it. One thing I would like to do, though, is to make it so that you could stack multiple APKs, multiple resource packages. I think that would be pretty cool, but we would have to implement it. It would be a lot harder to implement, let's just pick and choose what we want out of the theme package. That would take a lot more time, but I think stacking is totally feasible. Anyone else?
You got way in the back.
You got one more?
Are there any features that you wanted to put in but just couldn't get done? Or is it possible?
We have tons of ideas and not a lot of time. I was working on a T9 dialer. That didn't make it in time for 7.1. I mean, there's tons of stuff that we would love to put in there, but a lot of it also comes down to there's these huge features out there that we would like to do, but sometimes motivation is a problem. Once we get started, it usually comes together.
With as much time as you spend on the AOSP code and just with Android itself, what would you like to see Google do next with Android? Let's say Jelly Roll. But like, if Andy Rubin were to come to you and say, okay, you get to choose the next big thing in Android, what is it?
Yeah, if we could choose what we could get Google to do in the next version of Android.
Either immediately on the user level or just within the code base.
Yeah, I would task it. I would like to see them get more involved with the way some of these OEMs are implementing certain things. Like, I would really like to see them to see OEMs stick to some of the more standard, like the hardware abstraction layer, instead of if they need to add a feature, instead of rewriting the how to support their feature, they just either push those changes upstream so it can be improved for everyone, or just not do that and do it the right way. I'd like to see Google get more involved there, because that's a huge pain point for us anyway, for developers that are trying to work with real devices and do these kinds of things. Yeah.
What were maybe last couple of features that you rejected from the project, and maybe why? Like as far as source code?
What are features that we rejected?
Yeah.
boot sounds. Yeah, is there anybody that actually likes boot up sounds? Yeah, we rejected IMEI spoofing. That was part of the permissions management. And yeah, basically it allowed you to spoof your IMEI or your device ID to apps that were running. And that's really bad because there's a lot of apps that, well, first of all, like even our own stats app, it uses the device ID and some other keys so we know how many unique users are using it. There's companies that are they do licensing based on the device ID or IMEI. So they flat out told us that if you add this feature, then we're going to make it so that our app doesn't work at all on CM. So we got a lot of kickback for that. So yeah, that's something we don't want to do. I mean, features that are generally things like that. Yeah, okay. So you can make the argument that it's my device. I want to be able to make it presentable in any way. But really, you're breaking serious functionality of the OS that people are depending on. So we don't want to break apps. We don't want to cause any incompatibilities like that, or just make people mad. There's quite a few features that we had to cut for 7.1 just because we didn't have the time. But those will be in a future release. Anybody think of anything seriously cut lately? Yeah, I mean, yeah, and things that are obnoxious like the boot sounds. Yeah. 5 more minutes. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes we need convincing for new features. Yeah. Camera sounds were one, the toggle for the camera sounds, because it's actually illegal in some places to not have a sound on the camera on a mobile device. Alright, we have 5 minutes left. Is there any more questions?
Steve?
Yeah.
Can you speak to what we'd like to see from the modders to make it so that we don't get in contention with them, like give credit where credit's due and stuff like that?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I guess that is, since, like I was saying before, we went from being a mod, like when I first started this, I was really taking the Jesus Freaks ROM and changing it around and trying to do some different things with it. But over time, we have evolved into something that is very different. And we put everything out there that we can. It's open source. We give it away. We want to give it away. But it seems like there's kind of a hostility in the modding hacking community where people just kind of want to take stuff and they have some unrealistic expectations of us. When we're still working on projects, they criticize us because we might not be doing everything in the open and giving it away right away or whatever. The thing just doesn't work. So we don't want to put it out there and have people putting these builds together and say, oh, this is a version of CM, and nothing works. So we don't really want that out there. So I'd really like people to understand our position on that. Because again, we've gone from one side to actually really being a distribution of Android. Yeah, and there really isn't anybody else doing it. So we just kind of want to we want to keep some control there and keep quality high. But if you use our stuff, just just say you use it. We want people to use it. We want everybody to use it. We want everybody to hack on it, change it around, do whatever the heck they want with it. That's kind of the point. But there's no reason to be for any sort of hostility or animosity or anything like that. So. All right, last question.
Have you ever thought about implementing like a pocket mode or flip mode to put your phone in vibration while you're in a meeting?
Yeah, the flip over option to silence it or change the mode of it. We had something like that in there for a while. but we had to take it out because it was a little bit too sensitive. And sometimes it actually had a bug where it would grab a wake lock and not release it. And we didn't quite find it, and we didn't revisit it.
It's still commented out.
Yeah, the code is actually in there for that, but it's just commented out, disabled. Yeah, I think that's it. We're out of time, so yeah, thanks everybody for coming, and
My name's Steve Smith. I'm here on the behalf of the Roots Wiki team. I don't know if any of you know who we are. We give phones to devs. And we got the team Epic Touch 4G. There you go. Also, actually, we're going to be giving a phone every month, CyanogenMod. On top of the 2 phones that we'll be giving out to devs every month. And that's something that we'd like to say thanks to your team. All of you are awesome. And I hope everybody enjoys the barbecue. Thanks.
Oh. Yeah. Awesome, thanks so much. Now we definitely need more developers on our team to support all these things.
Do I get the ETA on 8 or no?
There is no 8. All right, everybody. Thanks for coming, and hopefully tomorrow, Monday, CM 7.1.
Everyone get up for CyanogenMod team, guys. One more time. Alright, so next up is going to be XDA after a short break to allow them to get ready.